Well, we're out here this week at Jig Rock Ranch. We're doing a press launch for Thundercat's new 1000 H2. I've been a rider ever since I was knee-high to a grasshopper. Learned to ride on my little Honda 110 back in the late 70s. And I love it. It's part of my life, and it's been a dream come true to be able to buy this property here in my hometown area, in the Coleraine, Minnesota area here on the Iron Range. Bordering on 2,000 acres of Blanton land and endless acres of mining company land, lots of great riding terrain. This is the third Thundercat press launch that we've had out at my place here, Jig Rock Ranch, and so I've seen some evolution of the machines here. I've seen the intro of the H1 3 years ago. Yeah, the Thundercat definitely can handle speed a lot better than the old H1 chassis with the spooky front end. And it hasn't sacrificed a thing either. The old H1 could creep over logs at angles and such, really good, better than anything else I've ever driven. And but it had a little bit of trouble at speed, whereas the Thundercat can do speed and do the creeping. It's definitely been a victory for Cat to be able to come up with that. And then another thing they did was they lowered the seat height. Now that gives it a little bit more of a stock car type lower center of gravity, and that feels a lot better. I did have some problems going over some whoop sections where I want to get my weight back, and I'm 6'4" and kind of gangly, and I kind of get my weight back, and I have canned my tailbone on the racks a little bit more than I did with the old seat. It was a pleasure to have the new Thundercat 1000 H2 engine, and it's the new V-twin fuel injected 950cc actually. The motor is very strong, pulls great. It's got tremendous low end torque, and then as far as top end goes, I mean, you can just keep hauling and hauling and hauling. And I was seeing 80 plus mile an hour speedometer speeds. I didn't have my GPS on me, but as far as speed and performance goes, it's a fabulous machine. I'd still like to see separate front and rear brakes. The brakes do work very good, but the single brake on the left-hand side does work front and rear, whereas the foot peg or the foot brake on the right side does just the rear. And I come from the old sport quad, and I like to have my right hand running a front brake and my foot running a rear brake and have them separated. But it does work very good. But when you start really getting into the rough, I like to have separate brakes. The Thundercat's main adversary is the Can-Am Outlander 800, and I've driven them both. I didn't have the opportunity to drive them both together here. The Thundercat has got a 2.5-inch longer wheelbase than the old H1. However, when you drive the Outlander, it's kind of a wheelie machine. It feels like it's got a lot of power, a lot more power, but it is kind of misleading because the front end is going to come up a lot more. The Thundercat, which has got a longer wheelbase, is going to spin more. It definitely feels at least as fast as the Outlander. Thundercat engineers that I'm working with, they claim that they kept the top end down. It should top out about the same, but it'll get there a lot faster. Now, I know that that's going to work out because when you're doing wheelies, you're not going forward. It does pull tremendously. It pulls tremendously. I'm really anxious to ride them both at the same time. What do I think is the market for this type of machine? Definitely somebody who wants the biggest and baddest. I mean, Thundercats are tough, and WPSA racing circuit certainly proves that. They're tough. I've driven them a lot. They're very tough. It could be used for trailing. It could be used for mudding. I'm just anxious to see what some of the mud crazies are going to do with this one. I'm not a mud rider myself. I know that there are some mud crazies out there. They're going to have some high lifts on it, and tremendous low end power, low range, mega power for pulling the biggest tires out there. Maybe even some bigger tires will be invented for this one. If you want the biggest, baddest, toughest machine around, this this could very well carry the bill there.